the Defense Department, whose much-delayed background investigation system is years behind schedule and billions over budget. DoD officials say they have a plan to finally deliver the system in the coming years, but lawmakers are concerned about more schedule slips and a lack of permanent leadership to oversee the program. For more, we turn to Federal News Network reporter Justin Doubleday. Justin, welcome.
Hey, Eric. Good to be here.
So it's been 10 years, just about as long as you and I have been doing this, covering this topic, since the Office of Personnel Management Systems were hacked in that famous massive data breach that affected thousands. And DoD started this project to replace that with a new background investigation system. We've heard some updates from time to time about it, but where do things currently stand today?
Yeah, Eric, it just seems like Groundhog Day with this system. The National Background Investigation Services, or NBIS, as I'll refer to it. DoD began developing this system all the way back in 2016. Originally projected it would be delivered by 2019. Well, it hasn't worked out that way. They're still developing it. It is still years away from being a reality. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on Tuesday held a hearing just to get a status update on where this system is at in development. Now, it has made some progress. They have started rolling out some new background investigation capabilities that fall under the umbrella of this big NBIS system. But the core of it, the new background investigations data system that really is what NBIS is still a couple years away. The Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency is overseeing NBIS development. It projects that by the end of 2028, they will finally have fully deployed NBIS and the associated Trusted Workforce 2.0 personnel vetting model that this software system is really supposed to enable with new technologies, with continuous vetting and things like that. So by the end of 2028, that's the new projection for this system. Justin Overbaugh is Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. He's also acting director at DCSA, and he testified to lawmakers who had a lot of questions about when this thing is finally going to be delivered.
I am absolutely focused on the concerns that you're raising. And again, why I would go back to the fact that I recognize that the progress that we've made is exceptionally fragile, and we're going to have to stay laser focused on this. I agree. We can't wait another 10 years. We've already spent way too much of the American taxpayers' dollars on this problem, and we are committed to delivering this capability by FY 2028.
And again, that's Justin Overbaugh, Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security and Acting Director of the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency.
So what other insights were gathered from this hearing? I'm sure that they touted the improvements. There probably have been improvements, right? And what are the challenges that they still face with implementing and creating NBIS?
Yeah, this is kind of a classic program management story where the program has just really struggled with two big things, a cost estimate and a reliable schedule. And what happened in 2024 actually is DCSA paused the program to do a really big sweeping review of all the problems that they were facing and what they needed to improve. And out of that, they came out with a new plan. And one of the things that they've now done is put out what the Government Accountability Office says is the first reliable cost estimate in NBIS program history. So GAO gave a thumbs up to this cost estimate. DoD has spent $2.4 billion on NBIS development and legacy background investigation systems since 2016. It projects now spending another $2.2 billion through fiscal 2031. So that is, according to GAO, a reliable cost estimate, which is important. But GAO says that the program still lacks a reliable schedule. And one of the things that GAO says DCSA should do for NBIS is a risk analysis where the program can prioritize some identified risks that might lead to further delays. And so GAO says that until DCSA has a reliable schedule for NBIS, it could be tough for it to meet its new goals over the next couple of years.
Talking here with Federal News Network reporter Justin Doubleday. What are lawmakers watching as far as progress on NBIS? We know what the Government Accountability Office would like to see. What would members of Congress themselves like to see?
Yeah, well, they are very concerned about the prospect of more delays with this system. They're wanting more updates from DCSA, quarterly updates from DCSA on the program. So that's one thing that they asked Justin Overbaugh to commit to, which he did. And the other thing they're concerned about is the fact that Overbaugh is dual-hatted. He is both Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, very important position up at the Pentagon. He's also now acting director of DCSA, another very important position. Multiple lawmakers on both sides of the aisle pointed this out during the hearing, said those are both full-time jobs in and of themselves. Virginia Democrat James Walkinshaw kind of summed up the feeling of many lawmakers.
I appreciate the passion that you have for the work and that your teammates have. I think I share the concerns on the dais here that the mandate is far too large and critical to function indefinitely under an acting director, no matter how passionate. We need a director focused on its counterintelligence mission who has the skills and the bandwidth. I don't question that you have the skills. I question whether you have the bandwidth to keep this project moving forward. I hope you can commit to providing this committee with a hiring plan and criteria for a new director promptly.
And again, that's Virginia Democrat James Walkinshaw, just speaking to Justin Overbaugh from the Defense Department about how he thinks he should take off his DCSA director hat pretty soon.
Yeah, Marco Rubio says only 2 jobs. Please get in line. All right, so what new capabilities does DCSA plan to roll out this year? Did Overbaugh get into any of that?
Yeah, I previewed some things that they're doing now. They are going to roll out some adjudicative improvements for public trust cases. Those public trust clearances are kind of the lower level clearance that, many federal employees who don't work with classified information have to get. And so rolling out adjudicative improvements would mean, more quickly adjudicating those investigations that happen to more quickly determine whether or not they're going to give someone a public trust clearance. They're also expanding the use of interim secret clearances. So this is, you've applied to a job that requires a secret clearance. You're waiting on your background investigation. DOD can grant you an interim clearance so you can actually start doing some of your job while you wait. And then there's going to be other vetting service features, Overbaugh says, that are going to start rolling out to the agencies that DCSA services, which I should mention, DCSA handles 95% of background investigations across government. So DOD is a huge chunk of that, obviously, but this is not just a DOD problem. This is a problem that, they're a challenge, really, that DCSA takes on for agencies across government.
Lost in all of this, we're talking mainly about leadership, but the folks that are probably going to be most affected are those people that are trying to apply for a job within the government that requires a security clearance. How do the delays with NBIS affect how long that process takes, as it was already an arduous one?
Yeah, this is really what NBIS is all about. It's supposed to replace legacy background investigation systems and really be the core of this new trusted workforce process that is, in the words of officials who have been overseeing this for years now, is supposed to be much faster and more streamlined than how we think about the security clearance process today. So today, it takes over 200 days to grant a top secret security clearance on average. That is 80% longer than the government's goal. You look at secret clearance, it's hovered around 80 days on average for, a while now. And that is about twice as long as how long the government would like for a secret level clearance. So this affects how quickly agencies can onboard people, how quickly contractors can onboard people. And it really is at the heart of a lot of the delays that you see just with the federal hiring process. The background investigation has been one of those big those long poles in the tent, or whatever you want to say, for a while now. And that's what NBIS is supposed to help fix, along with, of course, being more secure from a cybersecurity perspective, as we led in with the OPM hack, and also just with being more user-friendly and easier for agencies to also see information about people who they might be granting clearance to. So NBIS is all of these things. It's still not going to be here for a couple more years, but once again, DoD is pledging that they will make progress on this program.
All right. Well, we'll stand by for the next update, as I'm sure you'll be right there to let us know when there is one. Federal News Network reporter Justin Doubleday, thank you as always.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric.
And you can check out more of Justin's reporting on this and other topics at federalnewsnetwork.com.